it's not the same until it actually happens to a person. And so we have some people today who are wondering about their futures. They're wondering about their careers. They're wondering about their ability to have a job in Duluth, to support themselves, support their families. And that's a very, very tough situation to be in.
Thank you. One of the things that's...
We're very happy with some of the things that happened in the session because we did submit a budget that was balanced. We did submit a budget that, that put $200 million into a rainy day cash account so that we could help position ourselves into this transition time when we are going into the future.
Insurance regulations so that we will not be driving our insurers out of the state of Minnesota.
State we often compare ourselves to, that they had about 40 permanent total disabilities, injuries a year, and in Minnesota.
It appears to me to be one of those things that seems to be too good to be true, and it should raise the flag too good to be true.
Know what time the press release?
Yes, good. I'm busy. Can I call you right back? Okay.
They're taking it from the Coast Guard, whose mission is safety, and placing it into the St. Lawrence Seaway Development Corporation, which is essentially a political arena.
Does the St. Lawrence Seaway Development Corporation directly deal with Canada then? I mean, as far as, are you going to have more interaction with the Canadian government if this transfer takes place?
We don't know. The way the SLA...
I think it's a time for us to start looking at this. I know that they bargained in good faith, and this contract asks for a 3% pay raise this year and a 3% pay raise next year. And I'm just wondering if we aren't you know, over bargaining here. And again,
the parking is available, it's just a matter of knowing where it is, and now with the shuttle, that certainly is going to be a help with people parking in spots that are a little bit farther away from what their destination might be.
people can really learn to square dance is if you can walk and chew gum at the same time, you can definitely enjoy the square dancing.
You're despicable. We laugh about it when cartoon characters make light of common speech problems, but it's not cute when your child doesn't outgrow it.
Sandbox. Ladder.
This isn't baby talk. Both Michael and Alex should be speaking clearly, if not for what's called an articulation problem. They can't pronounce simple words. It's the most common type of speech impediment.
10% of children will have articulation problems.
Millie Martinez Suarez is a speech pathologist who specializes in children. She helps her own 5-year-old child, Alex.
Sam saw a swimmer.
Special exercises and practice turned the phrase into this.
Sam saw a swimmer.
She says many speech impediments can be easily corrected within months.
Right.
Perfect!
And it's never too late for adults to retrain those muscles. There are more serious speech problems such as stuttering or hearing loss defects that require more intensive therapy to correct. But the success rate is better with early detection. So parents, here's a rule of thumb.
After 4, all the sounds of the English language should be in. So if there's a problem after age 4, there needs to be some testing done.
Because letting it go can affect a child's reading skills and damage self-esteem.
I think he's shy to speak because he thinks he might make a mistake.
I'm Ileana Bravo for NBC News.
The cars move slowly down this street in East Duluth, not because of the many children who play here, but because of the condition of the streets, many of which have turned to rubble. Even the streets in front of Duluth's most famous residences, like this home that once belonged to author Sinclair Lewis, are in dire condition. But today, construction begins, part of a 25-year city plan.
And it's because of many, many years of neglect. We're let them get away from us, and now we're paying the piper.
The first bit of work began today on 56th Avenue West. This summer, more than 50 streets will be repaired in Duluth in many different neighborhoods.
Now, what exactly can homeowners expect from this process? Well, you may have seen crews out before patching up potholes. It's not going to be anything like that. You can expect your street, like this one, to be ripped up completely.
But not everyone likes the idea of getting their streets fixed. Homeowners will share in the cost, paying between $22 and $28 per foot of frontage to the streets. City officials say your assessment won't be mailed until your street is fixed, and you'll have 15 years to pay it off. There are still other complaints, one other person saying that bumpy streets prevent speeders in quiet neighborhoods.
I'm just very fearful that the cars are going to speed up, and especially coming downhill.
So even though the streets look lousy, it keeps people from speeding through here?
I think it slows people down. I've seen that before.
But like it or not, the street improvement program will likely continue, not just this summer, but for the next 24. Bill Lund, Channel 6 News.
This is right. That's very true. We also. That is the best part. We're happy to have been there.
We all accept that there is a physical
I still believe if they hadn't come along, we wouldn't be here talking about it today, because after 3.5, 4 hours, we were at that point where our body was getting cold and we didn't even realize it. And I mean, we shivered for 2 days after we got out of the water. When we tipped over, we were probably 1/4 of a mile, but when they found us, I think we were like about 1.5 miles.
Before Saturday, the last time Duluth experienced a temperature of 90 or greater was August 27th of 1991. Before Saturday, the all-time highest temperature ever recorded in International Falls was 98. It currently stands at 99, and that was tied on Sunday. As temperatures and humidity increase, so does the number of Northlanders needing medical attention.
I think people need to be cautious as soon as the temperature gets into the 90s and above here, and to use the information they can get from whatever source, from neighbors, from the TV, to prepare for the weather.
If 90-degree temperatures weren't a big enough problem, Northland residents are also dealing with relatively high humidities. Combine the both and you have a measure of what it actually feels like outside, otherwise known as the apparent temperature or heat index. Just how serious is this heat wave? The 99-degree record heat in International Falls the last 2 days combined with a 50% relative humidity to produce an apparent temperature close to 125. Checking the apparent temperature index, this value means that heat exhaustion, cramps, and sunstroke are likely, and heat stroke possible with prolonged exposure outdoors. These same conditions are expected to cause problems throughout the week.
I don't have a choice. I work 13, sometimes 13.5 hours a day. Yeah, you just do the best you can and keep smiling and sweat a lot.
The amount of exposure usually depends on the person, so it's hard to generalize a time frame. It depends on your weight, your physical well-being, and your body's ability to cool itself down or perspire. There are other problems also associated with this heat wave. UV indices have also been in the dangerous category, hovering around 8. At 7, residents should limit sun exposure without sunscreen to 24 minutes or less. At 8, 20 minutes or less. In the middle of a Northland heat wave, John Jetta, Channel 6 News.
We don't want people going our needs.
It's a result of the water level being lowered in the dam reservoir, and the top of the car was showing. So the officers went down this morning and saw the car and called a dive team from Cloquet to go in and take a look, and they found the car, and inside the car was one person.
Programs for journeyman upgrading. No matter where that includes, thank you. If anybody does have any personal questions, and they end up having to reimburse those people. They don't do that because there's no contract. There's nothing. The Davis-Bacon law is that the federal government surveys the construction trades average wage rate in the area for different trades. And the federal government recognizes that with its purchasing power, it could undermine the wages and working conditions in an area if they didn't have a floor, if there wasn't a floor established, and that's what Davis-Bacon does. If that was to be removed, it would open up the construction industry to as it was in 1931 when the law was enacted.
Oh yes, this is a good day for us. Not too hot. I think it's real good.
Oh, we used to come when I was little too, so just about every year we come for 30 years.
And I can remember the excitement the first day that my class moved into the new building. We were the first ones here, so it's really hard to watch.
By the time I got to the window, the curtain was straight out, so I knew there was some wind, so I hollered at my husband, and we were going to take off for the basement. But in the meantime, the house just felt like it was being picked up and going somewhere.
How long do you figure it'll take you to clean this up? I mean, that is just... Well,
if the city comes up, I hope. We're supposed to be like, we would have.
Here.
Ed Shambot.
Demolished by any extent. If they had, we've got architects and we've got real estate people.
My neighbor said that he was actually living there and paying you $200 a month in rent. Is that true?
Well, no, this is not true. Russell Cameron has never lived there, per se. He was trying to rent the place from me, and I'm telling him at the time then, because I guess because of his record or whatever, he's got some sort of thing as to where he's in and out of jail all the time. I called myself just giving him a hand there. I said, well, I'll help you if need be, but that's it. No, I can't rent the places out. You heard the council say that.
What about, you had no knowledge that a 14-year-old girl was assaulted in the building back in March?
No, I did not have no knowledge whatsoever of that.
You're aware that these dilapidated buildings are sites for crime. I mean, that people can go in there and do whatever they want.
Well, I don't look at it as a dilapidated building. I look at it as, one of my homes that I'm trying to own. I mean, you see it as a dilapidated building. Call it all kind of things. What'd you label it? The doghouse or something?
Well, we didn't label it that. That's what everyone in the neighborhood
Somebody calls it that. I never did. I call it my family house. I don't call it the doghouse.
But you don't live there, do you?
No.
Put on buildings, just about any
minimum of 5. That would be about the right size for this market. But then again, we may look at doing additional ones, providing they're in good taste. The main reason is obviously because of the additional revenues that they bring to the transit authority, and also that minimizes the need for more public assistance.
Having a cup of coffee and heard the thunder, because it was actually pretty clear outside, but could hear the thunder in the background, and decided if I was going to get the paper, I should get it before I got wet. So I went out to get the paper across the road, and as I was walking back, I looked up and you could see the front of the clouds coming across, and out of the front coming out over the top of the barn and the house, you could see the funnel clouds starting to come down. So I ran in the house and yelled at my wife to get Derek and get to the basement, and I grabbed the telephone on the way down and called 911. And
It's the hottest ticket in the state this weekend. 63,000 men are jamming the Metrodome for a regional meeting of the group Promise Keepers. Founded by former Colorado football coach Bill McCartney, the group has grown to nearly 500,000 members nationwide, giving men a chance to discuss issues with other men.
I think they're all looking for friendships and relationships, but sometimes are more standoffish. But I think something like Promise Keepers kind of draws them together to at least make the start.
But as the group grows, so does suspicion surrounding it. Liberal groups don't like McCartney's political views, but politics don't matter to many Promise Keepers.
It's something that some people want to make political. This is not a political movement. This is a movement for men to take their responsibilities and leadership in their families.
I don't see it as a political statement at all, or an anti-woman statement. I mean, if anything, it's a pro-family, pro-God statement.
Also, the group has come under fire from women's groups. Since Promise Keepers is a men's organization, these groups say they aren't included. But a number of Christian women say that's not the case and not the point.
There's a lot of things that women do that don't include men, and that there are gender-specific things that can be real positive, and that doesn't seem to be threatening to me in any way.
When these men come home, their wives and their children, their churches, their communities, their employer or their employees don't feel the ramifications, the positive ramifications of this organization, I would be surprised.
The organization is on its summer tour and has sold out stadiums like the Pontiac Silverdome. The men inside say they don't want to talk politics, but rather listen and learn. Jeff Pappas, Channel 6 News.
Typically, the incubation period for symptoms is about 7 to 10 days or so. So at this point, we would not expect to see any additional cases arising from the contamination.
We're going to run out of tape.
Gordon would say the campaign speeches like that.
I said a word at the last one.
Yes, they did with little turtles. And the little kids, they swallow and they take an x-ray and show it's little turtles.
I don't know, everywhere. I don't even think they know where they're going. Termites, nutty. 10 guys like that give people the idea everybody drives a motorcycle is crazy.
The 1950s and the 60s saw an explosion in American motorcycle culture. The tough wild ones image labeled all motorcycle riders as outlaws.
It's a new breed out there. A lot of middle class, a lot of gray hair.
Like the little lady in black said, there's a new breed out there. From doctors to postal workers, from business owners to housewives, they're baby boomers embracing the romance of the open road. Every Wednesday night, these men and women come together to share the Harley-Davidson experience.
It sounds good, it feels good when you drive it, and they look really good. They look so good, in fact, that I think a lot of the other people have tried to copy them, copy their successes in various ways.
Based in Milwaukee, Harley-Davidson now holds 60% of the U.S. super heavyweight market and is close to producing 100,000 motorcycles each year. Depending on size and style, a new Harley can range in price from $5,000 to $17,500.
You have to have a good job, for one thing, to afford a Harley. And it takes a little while now. I'm 41. I got my first Harley when I was 40, so it takes a little while to get into it, I'm sure. But once you do, you get out there and, oh, there's no looking back.
And there's a lot to get into. From fancy chrome parts to leather gloves to t-shirts, Harley has created a massive merchandising machine. The company also created and supports its Harley owners groups. Including Duluth's group, there are 860 hog chapters around the world. From their Hog Tales magazine to their state rallies and charity work, they make up the biggest group of its kind in the world. But perhaps one of the most enjoyable events for these riders is their weekly dinner ride to a small town near you. Give them away next time you see them. Last count, Jody and Robert Berquist own 8 Harley-Davidson motorcycles.
That motorcycle, the purple and orange motorcycle, is what's called a Springer. This motorcycle's name is BU. BU. And that name is the name of my daughter's favorite bear, BU.
Robert and Jody have names for all of their Harleys. Besides BU, there's Sylvia, Jody's 1992 Fat Boy.
It's easier to handle, I think, than the older Sportsters because all the weight is low to the ground, and it's also got the lowest seat height besides the 883 Hugger. So I have no problem at all.
And then there's a 1988 Heritage Softail named Tina.
In my estimation, Tina is a babe. This is the perfect motorcycle for me. It's basically considered a stroker in the sense that it's the engine's been altered enough where it's a high displacement engine. And
this 700-pound Harley named Tatanka is Robert's company car.
It's actually a Fat Boy. It's a 1991 Fat Boy, and I use this daily during the months of May to November for work.
Robert, a Duluth architect, got his first bike when he was 15. In 1962, his father brought home this Duo Glide. For Robert, it was the start of a long love affair with Harley-Davidsons, one shared by thousands of Northlanders.
I believe it's because it's made here, for one thing. I mean, people who are die-hard Buy American can see that. You know, even though there's obviously parts on it that are foreign made, principally it's an American machine. It's the only mass-produced American motorcycle. Aside from the fact that it's made in America, I think it's got tons of personality.
Yeah, well, he's...
Girls, start your engines!
From their Harley orange fingernails to their vanity license plates, these girls just want to have fun.
We call ourselves the Rambling Roses, and we're just in it for a good time, get to see some other countryside. We have girls coming as far as from Ashland, Holyoke, Two Harbors, so we're getting into areas where we don't always get normally.
Normally, Kathy Rootness is a professional conservator and legal guardian for the elderly.
I am Mrs. Straight Lace in my other life, and so this gives me a chance to live vicariously in some clothing that I might not otherwise wear. Yeah, bad girl image.
Kathy and Cindy Mulick co-founded the Rambling Roses Riding Group. Cindy is a manager at the Harley-Davidson Sports Center in Hermantown.
I started out on a small bike, worked my way up to get a little experience under my belt. And that's the way to do it, because a lot of women will start on their boyfriends or husbands' big bikes, have something happen, and then they get discouraged.
And that's why the women's group was formed. From beginners to expert tourists, the Rambling Roses have vowed to encourage one another and set their own pace. Their recent maiden voyage to 2 harbors went off without a hitch, as Kathy and Cindy led the way on their Harleys.
My husband got one last spring, and I was riding behind him, and on our 26th wedding anniversary, the end of last June, he presented me with this wonderful 1993 Sportster Hugger.
My son graduated from high school last year, and I have a daughter who's 16, and they just go, whoa, Mom. She's cool.
And when the time came for the dealer to retire or leave, he said, well, you know, you're probably the most logical guy to buy this place. And I said, maybe I am. And so here I am.
Seeing the guys enjoying their bikes, and the guys and the girls, when their bikes come in and they pick them up, and they are so enthused.
The Kakelmeyers own the Harley-Davidson dealership here in Hermantown, but a lot of people don't realize that this dealership is the oldest in the state of Minnesota. In the late 40s, Richard, a college student at the time, took a part-time job at the Duluth dealership. Not too long after, he became the owner and sole employee of the shop at 13th Avenue West and Michigan Street.
That's right. At the beginning, I was doing everything. I sold the motorcycles, the parts, did the mechanical work, the whole bit.
On weekends, he traveled the racing and mountain climbing circuit, testing his product.
It just seemed the thing that a motorcycle dealer did at the time. So, yes, I fell right into it.
Richard's early bikes are on display in the shop. There's a 1940 Indian taken in on trade, a Harley mini bike his children trained on, and of course his racing and hill climbing bikes.
And this is a group of the, shall we say, the regular riders that got together to take a Sunday run. And this was in front of the old store, which used to be down at the Point of Rocks, as they call it.
Ann and Richard have also documented their years in the business with pictures. This one shows one of the many rallies that enticed the Duluth Cycle Club in the early 50s. Others point to the equality of the sport.
It's fun riding behind, but it's a lot more fun riding by yourself, because there's a feel of the bike, and you can see what's going on.
Despite several remodelings over the years, the Kakelmeyers business outgrew their Michigan Street shop. Last fall, they moved into this state-of-the-art building to meet demand and the new century in style. Customers followed and gladly wait for brand new bikes rolling off the assembly line in Milwaukee.
Well, I will say that there never was a day that I did not like to come to work. After all, here in the motorcycle business, you don't sell things that people have to have. You sell things that they want.
Each pin on this map represents one motorcycle and rider who sign in at the annual motorcycle rally. When it comes to Sturgis, well, let's just say the Northland is well represented. Hundreds of Northlanders will soon be there, trying to stick a pin into the map, staking their claim to Sturgis.
I think it's outrageous. It's the coolest thing that God ever made. I think the fact that it's practically in the geographical center of the country is really neat. People come there from everywhere. Contrary to a lot of opinions about about behavior and what to expect. Sturgis is just a huge happening. You know, it's hundreds of thousands of people all in the same spot, all driving motorcycles. The faster, the louder, the cooler they are, the better they are.
This will be the 6th year I've been out there, so I've driven out there every year, and I love it too. I've never been bored.
Sturgis is a place where you can go with all bikes. It's not just Harleys, but it's all bikes. And that's the thing now, it's getting into where everybody likes to ride. It's the motor club, you know, the sport of it. You get down there, you meet other people, you talk about things in common.
They line them up on the street. They line up 4 rows of bikes, probably half a mile long. So 4 half-mile rows of motorcycles, probably 3 feet apart. It's really a big deal.
Over 100,000 bikers converge on Sturgis each August. Local shop owners push their merchandise to the back of their stores and rent space to vendors. When that space runs out, vendors overflow sidewalks, hawking everything from T-shirts to barbecue ribs. But for the bikers, the biggest attraction at Sturgis are the machines.
The ones that are premiered in a lot of the magazines as centerfold bikes that are in any number of the magazines you see in the stores are parked right on the street, so you can walk up, kick the tires, and really see them up close, and that's kind of fun.
Prosecutor Gary Bjorklund opened the state's case on Wednesday. The first day of testimony included statements by Goodwin's live-in girlfriend Tracy Connors, as well as Gumtow's wife Becky. When the incident occurred, she was the only eyewitness and afterwards married the defendant. Testimony was also taken from officers at the crime scene and acquaintances of the Gumtows. Thursday featured testimony from a neighbor of Gumtow and Goodwin. He testified that he saw Gumtow with a gun in his right hand while using his left hand to hold Goodwin's apartment door open, striking a blow to the defense's claim that Gumtow had acted in self-defense. Gumtow had said the door had accidentally locked behind him as Goodwin attacked him with a knife. The defense got its turn on Friday. Defense attorney John Lynn tried to show that what appeared to be knife gashes in an apartment wall weren't properly investigated, and that the gashes could have happened during an altercation on the night of Goodwin's death.
Now, both attorneys have said from the beginning that this would boil down to a simple case of self-defense, and so far the defense has done nothing to disprove that. But really, only 2 people know the whole truth. The victim, of course, can't testify, but the second person, Gumtow himself, is expected to take the stand as one of the last witnesses in his own defense. In Duluth, Jeff Pappas, Channel 6 News.
But be sure and check all the way along the road.
The search for Edward Oman is perhaps one of the largest in Carleton County this summer. On Tuesday night, specially trained dogs were led by Oman's cabin. A helicopter equipped with a special heat-seeking device hovered overhead. Last night, dozens of volunteers gathered to search the woods in the Blackhoof area south of Carleton.
We've had nothing. The last ground search that we went through, we had over 100 people involved in going in a straight line all the way around the cabin so that we established a perimeter that the person was not in.
And when you run out to the tractor, then just follow them to the east.
71-year-old Oman was last seen Tuesday morning around 11 when he left to pick berries. His truck was found near his cabin. At first it appeared he may have fallen into a nearby pond.
We drained the pond. There was nothing in the pond at all.
Foul play is not suspected. It appears that Oman may have simply become lost while picking berries. Michelle Lee, Channel 6 News.
We want to get the public's involvement tonight and advice about some landscaping that we want to do here to try to put the Piedmont neighborhood back into shape during the time that we're waiting for the appropriate funding that we need.
You know, I guess there are a lot of things that happen during the matters. There was discussion about giving a statement. That's not a problem. That wouldn't be a problem. However, at the time that we discussed it, we were trying to ask and obtain information. So the two sides couldn't get together on what the framework of that discussion would be. My client's situation will be such that, you know, he's going to say what happened.
Now we're going to a television station.
In Alabama?
It's about Midwest. University of Alabama is located there.
I stand out with my accent, though, huh?
Oh, of course. Well, see, if you'll, we'll come to your station too. Trying to live for Christ now, and it's so much harder to do that these days than it was so much more in the past. And our goal in this Generation X, Armed and Dangerous, what we have going on this weekend, is that we want to show young people that they can live for Christ. It's fun to live for Christ, and it's all worth it.
Okay, Batman fans, here's today's Bat Trivia question. We might flock to watch Batman movies, but has this lady become a bat case or what?
I think he's just about ready to go. His weight's good, like I said. Fur's good. His attitude is excellent.
Holy bat cow, a real bat with attitude. So what do we have here in a quiet laboratory at the University of Minnesota? A bat plot? Joan Simpson isn't dressed like a bat lady, but don't be fooled by the disguise.
Well, look at their faces. When I actually started looking at them closer and watching them move, and they have different faces, just as people do.
Holy bat jaws. We have discovered Minnesota's Bat Recovery Room. It's a place where Simpson and other bat fans help injured bats return to their caves and night flights. In this case, a big brown bat.
This is a bat we found covered with tanglefoot, I believe.
At the university's wildlife rehab clinic, bats in need are nursed back to health because, well, even bats need a friend. Simpson is like a bat therapist, testing bat wings or arms. Or sometimes she's a bat nurse, feeding grubs to bats that, well, seem hungry as a bat.
He's eating very good. Nice and steady.
Nice and juicy grubs. Once fed, the recovering bats are tucked away for a nice bat night, which is during the day, of course. And talk about bat records. Simpson keeps close track of her patients.
He was found 1 block west Hennepin, 28th, middle of the side street. You can see the motorist stopped for it.
A bat visit to the bat clinic varies in length until there's a full bat recovery. Each bat is weighed to make sure the bat body is back to normal. And daily bat flights are held behind the bat nets.
No, that's a good flight. You can hear the wings, it's strong.
The bat mystery, of course, is why are so many of us afraid of bats?
A lot of it's from ignorance, not getting the chance to know them. People think they're rodents, people think they're going to fly at you, and they're actually doing a favor out there eating bugs.
Would you believe some bats, like the little brown bat, eats 500 mosquitoes an hour? Simpson insists there's lots of nice things about bats that we don't know about. And that's why she works like she does to be a bat friend.
They're very clean animals, just like a cat will sit and grow.
Only it purrs like a bat. I'm Ron Shera, Minnesota Bound.
Just grooming, just fastidious, he couldn't stand it, so I'm impressed with how clean they keep themselves. You can see it.
Oh, the women who did this, many of them died without ever getting to vote. Many of them went to jail. They went on hunger strikes in jail. They did all of this without a drop of blood. They did all of this without any violence whatsoever. And all over the world, there have been violent revolutions to get this right. And the women of the United States did it without violence.
Kids a big hand. And of course, that will leave everybody else that's in the park that's a piece in the globe. It's really fun to kind of...
It did. A lot of people worked on it, about 10 different congregations, and then a lot of organizations from the city have helped. Terrence Smith is here with music, so it's been a really good day so far.
You got it. Okay. Here we go. Ready? Make a line behind there and everybody can be in a parade. Here's a whole bunch of shakers and movers here. Come here and grab one of these here on the way up.
On August 21st, 1950, 227 Northland men embarked on a journey that would bring them to the shores of Korea. When squad leader Cameron Heimbaugh left Duluth, he already had the experience of 3 World War II campaigns under his belt.
Squad leader, we have 13 men to be controlled over out of the platoon. And, you know, young fellows, never been away from home before. And it's, you know, you kind of watch over them and hope that everything comes out all right.
About 2/3 of those 227 young men survived the horrors of battle. Pete Hildry was a machine gunner and says although his life expectancy in combat was only 2 minutes, he survived over a year.
Well, there's a bond that you develop with people when you're in combat that stays with you the rest of your life. You spill your blood with somebody, it sort of stays around.
It's that bond that brings these veterans together for a reunion every 5 years.
And it's great to get together with the fellows, and you kind of forget them a little bit in between the 5 years, but once you see each other, you know, it's really a great feeling.
Yeah. Does it bring back a lot of memories?
Oh, yeah, you always get memories. Yeah, always, yeah. We lost some good men over there, and that's a shame, but it was the way it went.
Okay. Smaller cracks firm, they're growing, expanding here. Okay. Just a comment that I've said, mostly I've heard it before.
Craze here in the future, but certainly at least it gives an opportunity for small entrepreneurs to try to get started and to get the technical advice they need to begin their business operations and hopefully to grow out of spaces like this over time.
I can confirm that the Antitrust Division is reviewing industry-wide the allegations of anti-competitive practices, but otherwise I can't comment on the pending matter.
Change is the name of the game this year for the Superior School District. $14.5 million, and 8 years later, the district has made significant changes from kindergarten through senior high. For example, construction crews have been busy all summer long with additions, renovations, and even new facilities.
Providing new educational structures for kids and students sends a real message about the faith that the community has in the school system, and really sends a message to parents and students about the importance that the community places on school and on getting an education.
When students walk through the doors of Superior Senior High, they'll see a brand new auditorium for music and theater productions. But perhaps the biggest change in the district is the 2 new elementary schools, the Great Lakes School and a new Bryant School.
This is really exciting. We are just, we're just getting ready for these beautiful kids, and we're expecting a lot of parents also tomorrow to come this first day and just celebrate this opening with us. So it is exciting.
Not only have the building structures themselves changed within the Superior School District, the structure inside these buildings have changed as well. 9th graders who used to report to junior high will now attend senior high. And the 7th and 8th graders will have the junior high buildings to themselves. District leaders say the change will make it easier for freshmen to take part in high school activities.
9th graders are earning high school graduation credits even in districts where the 9th grade is in another building. They're often participating in high school level activities. Their program as 9th graders, even when they're in another building, is very much like the high school program.
It's been a long time since the Superior School District has gone through such major change, but it's change that's being anticipated with optimism. In Superior, Ann Carroll, Channel 6 News.
Pretty much arson?
Completely arson.
These kids are spending much of their summer away from an inner city environment to be here in the peace and tranquility of Elkhorn, Wisconsin.
The man saw George, too. What a nice little monkey, he thought.
This is Camp Getaway, the nation's first camp of its kind to specialize in families that are living with the HIV virus or AIDS.
All of them have the same symptoms as me.
This is Whitney Williams. She has full-blown AIDS.
It's a camp for kids to let their feelings out. And, you know, I mean, it's not their fault.
But she and her mom are not here to talk about dying. They are here for 6 days and 5 nights of fun, relaxation, and meeting new friends with similar problems. As Whitney tries not to think about death and dying, so too is 14-year-old Kenneth Terrell. Kenneth does not have the AIDS virus, but his mother does.
You don't have no symptoms. You can tell she's sick. Don't even look like she's sick.
It's a time to really get some peace and really connect and, you know, be able to get to know one another, get to know ourselves, really.
You like honeydew melon?
Yeah, I had it before. I was at school.
Also here is Dante and Sheila Ward. Both mother and son have AIDS. But for them, being here is a moment of temporary relief as she prepares her son for the day when she no longer will be with him.
And then I would like to be here long enough to see him grow up to at least get of age.
Art Norman for NBC News.
It was a good race. Kelly raced me hard, and I raced him hard, and we had a lot of fun.
This year I've been fortunate. Usually it seems like I'm running at these specials, I'm running second, third, fourth, and not winning. And after you do that for a lot of years, it's hard to believe in yourself that you're going to win it. But you get a few advantages with the draw and stuff, and it's a lot of it's in your mind. You got to be positive, and you got to tell yourself you're going to win.
This is a baby in the making, using assisted reproductive technology that's costly and chancy. Odds are that even with the latest techniques, 2 out of 3 Minnesota infertile couples will wind up with empty arms. Now, one group of St. Paul infertility specialists is offering a money-back guarantee.
Introducing an innovative option for couples who are considering IVF pregnancy versus adoption.
Through what's called the Fertility Cost Warranty Program, couples who undergo IVF, or in vitro fertilization, get money back when they wind up childless.
If at the end of 3 tries you do not have an ongoing pregnancy, then we would refund to you the $14,000.
A $14,000 rebate because initially a couple invests $16,000. Plus the cost of infertility drugs at $1,700 a try, or $5,100. $2,000 is a non-refundable medical evaluation fee. When in vitro fertilization fails to produce a pregnancy, the couple gets its $14,000 back. But not all infertile couples are going to be eligible for the new cost warranty program being offered here at Reproductive Health Associates. The woman must be 35 or younger and
she has to have a uterus that's capable of carrying a pregnancy and ovaries from which we can stimulate eggs normally.
And the man must have at least 1 healthy sperm that, if need be, can be injected into the woman's egg.
It feels like it's something that's very interesting, and I'd like to see how it does turn out in the long run.
Mary Ballou is a want-to-be mother and spokeswoman for Resolve, an organization for infertile couples.
I would say it's probably a win-win situation.
Consumers will decide, is it win-win or the latest way to sell hope to childless couples?
An innovative option for couples who are
Again, without knowing a lot of the facts about it, sure, there's the chance that he either jumped or fell, and I guess that's what we're investigating. Right now, all we know is a body was found underneath the bridge.
Well, I understand what you want, but this works better for the route. Your children do have to walk a little bit, but it isn't, it isn't a real problem based on how we can see it.
And she went to that bar to confront an ex-boyfriend and tell him not to come around Duluth and not to bother her and to leave her alone. This is the boyfriend that had previously assaulted her some 2 weeks earlier, I believe. He beat her pretty violently, and he was subsequently charged with third-degree assault.
William Hagan, Pillsbury Avenue, Minneapolis.
TVs, household appliances, furniture. The problem of illegal dumping is a growing concern in Duluth. This Bresnan Communications property has become a popular dumping site for all kinds of junk. Mike McPhee of Bresnan is even more alarmed because hazardous material is appearing on the site.
I'm disgusted with it. It's costing us thousands and thousands of dollars a year just to haul away this stuff, repair our gate and our fence, to try to keep people from having access to it, and it's just an extreme frustration with me.
McPhee says he's noticed the problem getting worse and worse ever since the Western Lake Superior Sanitation Department started charging money for the disposal of items like TVs, appliances, and hazardous material. The WLSSD agrees.
Yeah, it requires a little change in procedure from what it used to be, and some people either don't know, don't care, or are financially unable to participate, so they don't want them, and they do what they have to do, or they feel what they have to do to get rid of them.
But what is being done to combat the problem? Duluth police turn all cases over to McPhee, who is known as the garbage cop. He conducts investigations based on what he finds at the site. He says, though, most importantly is to get the waste off the site. If caught, illegal dumpers could pay a $700 fine and be asked to remove the waste. But McPhee says this is not only a crime in the eyes of the law, it is also a crime in the eyes of Mother Nature.
Mother Earth, she's been violated quite often, and she's maybe just won't take, maybe we're just about to the end of it. She can't take anymore, and it's not you and I that are going to suffer, it's our kids.
In Duluth, Ann Carroll, Channel 6 News.
Belongings or kind of getting their life and their ship in order. To me, that's a worrisome sign. So I think if there's significant issues of suffering or loss of function, or there's a real change in an elderly person's life, that's a time to really look at and to attend, as those of us who are involved with elderly communities, to attend to the needs of them, and at least to talk about it. Talking about it does not increase incidence, and it may be life savings.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing just great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
In the fall, we're going to have children's voting. I'll take that. It's not in.
You don't get in there yet. You get.
Where are we at?
You're listed here as 102. Could you please sign it there?
You gotta watch out for those things there. Sometimes people like see you later.
Bye-bye.
3 years ago, authorities in the Eau Claire area looked at a fight between two large groups of high school students as a scuffle. They cautioned the kids against violence and sent them home.
This was just groups of kids challenging one another, even though there may have been some people involved that may have wear the colors and so forth. It was not a gang issue fight.
But it wouldn't be long before they changed their minds. 2 weeks later, with no charges filed, the kids said they had to take matters into their own hands. Another fight followed, and this time one kid brought a gun. 6 shots were fired into this car with 4 young people inside. Luckily, no one was hurt, but it served as a wake-up call for authorities.
This is primarily consists of local kids in the Eau Claire County area that I think are partly affiliated with colors and gangs and the wannabes and so forth.
This time, charges were filed, but they were minor, and some thought a tougher line should have been taken.
The police caught them. They put in detention for 1 or 2 days. They released the kid, and then now the kid is back in the street again.
Back on the street, and within weeks, back in trouble. This time, someone got shot. A 14-year-old was shot in the neck.
Well, we got down there, and I started fighting one kid, and then some other ones jumped in, and then my brother came out with the baseball bat, and they all took off, and then they had a gun.
This would prove to be a turning point. Police came out strongly, saying the shooting involved rival gangs, with gangs like the Cobras and Asian Pride crew flaunting colors and carrying weapons. They could no longer be denied.
We have an investigative team down there now who are experts in gang-related events like this, which we think that it is.
Citizens continued to resist, however, saying it was just a single episode involving mostly kids from outside the community. Within weeks, however, they were shocked into reality.
From what it looked like, he was getting hit, but when the kid who was hitting him turned to me, he had a knife like sticking out of his hand.
A 14-year-old boy was stabbed by another 14-year-old as he walked in his neighborhood. Police said it was a gang rivalry. The community was now shocked into action.
We find that coalitions are forming in communities everywhere, not just in Wisconsin. And communities are taking action as they become concerned about their young people and they see the changes in their young people.
We're seeing younger and younger children killing each other and committing crimes against adults.
The school district has also taken strong action, creating a task force involving police and school officials, adding cultural diversity classes, and training teachers in preventing gang violence. Police in Superior say unless the community is willing to work with authorities, gang violence could grow as quickly here as it did in Eau Claire. In Superior, Barbara Riles, Channel 6 News.
If you'd like a preview of what the heart of downtown would look like if the proposal was passed tonight, just head out to Duluth's West End. Angle parking has been in effect there for a number of years. Motorists can park close to the businesses there, but has the system worked?
Well, I really don't know the exact answer to that question. Some people like it more, some people like it less. Certainly it provides more parking spots. It provides that front door access that consumers these days want and are accustomed to.
Other changes would have to be made in the downtown area as well. Some signal changes would be needed, and Baker says avenue traffic would be changed as well to make it easier to get around downtown.
Making the avenues two-way, those avenues that are one-way at this time, making it possible to go around the block and find a parking space.
However, the idea isn't without potential flaws. City Councilor Neil Atkins favors the idea in general, but points to increased congestion in the West End and other difficulties to be overcome downtown.
The diagonal side, though, I've already had calls from people with the Public Safety Commission and the Disabilities Commission, a lot of disabled people concerned about how the buses are going to be able to pick them up and drop them off, especially in the wintertime.
Atkins has had extensive experience dealing with parking issues, especially on 1st Street, and he says that almost anything is better than the current parking situation downtown.
Here we are in Central Park. Today I'm with Barbara from the Superior Area Shelter, and we have a beautiful dog with us. It's quite a touching story of where the dog came from.
Right. The dog was found at Central Park, this park, running around. She is very frightened. It's real hard to approach her or touch her. Her tail instantly goes between her legs and really frightened and scared. She's obviously been abused. And as you can see, she's emaciated. Every bone in her body is just protruding with starvation. Medically, we don't know exactly if there's a cause for her condition, but we're just assuming she hasn't been fed, so.
So usually we see dogs at the shelter that are all bushy-tailed, energetic, just the perfect dog. But the real story is a lot of these dogs aren't so perfect, and they really need your help, and they're in need of a loving family. And with another few hours of tender love and care, this dog will be just fine.
She's very gentle. You know, sometimes when dogs are treated harshly, they become aggressive, but in her case, she wouldn't hurt anyone. She's just very, very scared, and like you said, she needs some tender loving care, and definitely needs a few good meals to get her strength and her weight back. Now, there are many different circumstances behind why the dogs are in the shelter. Sometimes it's someone just lacks the compassion to care for their dog in this case. Other times, we had mentioned people sometimes go their separate ways. They're moving, they can't afford to bring the dog with them, divorce, other situations like that. So a lot of the times you can find purebred dogs or beautiful mixed breed dogs like this one.
Okay. So Superior Area Shelter is the place to go.